I'm out here today on this job, and this video is going to be a 3-day process that you're going to see in about 15 minutes. But basically, if you've watched one of my recent shorts, this house was in the background and the well is right there. Now, today is Tuesday. It's about 4 o'clock in the evening, and I wanted to do this because so many people ask, when you hydro-frack a well, do you ever test it? So in order to do that, you have to do a pre-test, then you have to frack it, then you have to wait a little while, and then you can go back and do another water test again to see what the improvement of the water was. Preliminary test on the well, I'm going to determine what the gallon per minute of the well is, and then we're going to frack it tomorrow, and then in about 3 or 4 days we'll come back and I'll do another test, and we're going to see how much hydraulically fracturing actually increases the flow rate of this well. Oh man, look at that. Look at that guy right there. Yeah, he might cause a bad day. So there's actually 2 things that I'm going to do for this well. I have my boom box over here. That's going to tell me the water level. And then I've got my camera system right here. So we're going to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone here. As I run water from that hydrant right there, the water level in the well is going to drop. I'm going to lower the water level down to about 150 foot. I'm going to camera the well as I go. Once the water level reaches 150 foot, I'm going to stop the hydrant. That's going to stop the pump from running. There's nobody here at the house, so there's no water that's going to be used. I'm then going to calculate how fast the water fills back up from 150 foot to 140 foot. That 10-foot interval will be 15 gallons of water. You basically just take the time it took to fill 10 feet, and that'll give you your gallons per minute. So that's what we're going to do now. So right now I've got the camera system that's in the well, currently sitting at around 47 foot. The boom box indicated that the water level, the static water level of this well, the resting water level, was at 49 foot. So I've got the hydrant open right now, and as you can see, I'm just wasting water. And here shortly, we'll be able to hear the pump kick on, and then the water level of the well will start to drop. All right, the meter counter has zeroed back out since I went ahead and stopped recording. So we're already at 45 feet, and we're going to continue on. Whatever we add to that will be on our additional. Alright, so while I've got the camera in the well, the camera's currently at about 110 foot. We're going to go ahead and take the boom box, and we're going to check the water level. Turn it on. And we've got the water level down to about 136 foot. So that's good. I'm going to stop it at 140. Let's go ahead and we're going to turn it off right here, because what's going to end up happening, the bladder tank inside the house has to fill. So once the bladder tank fills up and the switch satisfies, then that's when the pump will turn off. Alright, we are at 144 feet. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to mark the time. So the time is 4:05 in the afternoon, and the water level depth is 144 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that down, and we're going to recheck the water level again in 10 minutes. And we're going to see how far the water level has come up in 10 minutes. Alright, it's been exactly 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and perform the boombox test again. Pretty much like I thought. Okay, so let's do the math on that. That's 4 feet. There's a gallon and a half for every foot. So if you've got 4 feet and a gallon and a half for every foot, that's 6 gallons in 10 minutes. So the well makes 6 gallons in 10 minutes. That is a little bit more than a half of a gallon a minute. That's realistic. So we're gonna frack this thing and we're gonna see what it makes afterwards. Now I know 10 minutes wasn't really that long of a time, and I could have drawn the well down to say 250 foot, but as long as I do my second test after the hydro-frac at the same depth at 140 to 144 foot, I will get equal results. Now what I'm gonna do, I've got my time marked down. I'm gonna allow this thing to sit for about 25 minutes, and I'm gonna come back and do another test, and I'm gonna see if those numbers correlate with what we just got. So what I'm thinking we're making about 0.6 or 0.7 gallons per minute. All right, it's been 20 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and do another test. 136, exactly like I thought. All right. Well, so that confirms it. The well makes 0.6 gallons per minute. It makes 6 gallons of water every 10 minutes. I did another test that was at the 20-minute mark, and it rose another 4 feet, which is another 6 gallons. So we've got a good baseline, and from here we're going to go ahead and start the fracking procedure, and then we'll wait a few days, let the customer use the water for a while. I'll come back out here and I'll do another one. All right, it is now day 2, and we are headed out to the job now to frack it. So about a month ago was my first time coming out to this job. If you remember back, I made a short video on changing the electrical wire on a well pump. Well, that was at this house. I basically predicted that there was going to be an open on one of the wires, whether it be the black or the white. Well, that was this pump. I pulled it out, I replaced the wire. Ironically, that morning, he was watching my YouTube videos on hydro-fracking. His wife told him that he didn't have any water, and he said, well, I know who to call, because he was watching my videos the moment they ran out of water. So I found that pretty ironic. Well, now we're dealing with a well that only makes 0.6 gallons a minute, so we're gonna go there and we're gonna frack it today. So it's kind of cool that these videos kind of make you know, full circle all the way around. I'm excited to see what the hydro-fracking procedure increases the flow of this well to. Typically we look for a you know, a 4 times to a 10 times increment. If we got a 10 times increment, then that means that we'd get the well to make about 6 gallons a minute. So we'll know more in a week when I'm able to come back and test it. All right, we are here. So the first thing we have to do is go inside, turn the power off, and then we're gonna fill the well full of water and we're gonna pull the pump out. All right, we've got the well pump pulled out of the well. It was at 280 foot. Went ahead and cut the casing a little bit lower. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna back the truck up and start the process of lowering the packer in.
But all the mud from the lock the whole time. Kept washing across every time it rained, it would go across the yard.
Try to get there. Pumping water into the hole to get all the air out of the system. All right, so now what we're doing is inflating the packer. We're just gonna wait for that pressure gauge over there to reach up about 1500 PSI, and then we'll start our process. initially, when we started the Hydro-Frac in first gear, because the hole was tight and stopped up, we got about 1,000 PSI. We ran that for about 5 minutes. Then we switched over to second gear, which increases the flow down the hole. The pressure slowly dropped from 1,000 PSI all the way down to about 500 to 550. Right now we're allowing the tank to fill back up with water, and I'm going to attempt to put it in third gear. I'm not sure if this well will accept third gear. The flow rate then increases more, and only if the aquifer can take that flow of water will the engine take it. Now we're running in third gear. The engine definitely has a lot of strain on it. Alright, so as you just saw, the well was successful in taking third gear. I basically put it wide open and it didn't seem to have a problem at all. The pressures in third gear started at around 700. Because now we're flowing more water, the pressures will go up. And then towards the end of the run, after I ran 500 gallons through it, the pressures dropped down to about 550 where they were before. As I idled it down, the pressures actually dropped down to about 350. And the well was open enough to take the flow of water without the engine having a lot of power thrown to it. A tight well would actually choke the engine out and stall it if it were still restricted. So I think we got a really good frac here. We're gonna go ahead and hit it one more time, and then in a few days I'll come out here and I'll test it. So hopefully we get a pretty good increase of flow. You know, if we can get 5 times, 8 times, 10 times, I'll be extremely satisfied. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording the frac process, and then once we're all done and wrapped up, I'll see you during the test cycle. Okay, now it has been 6 days since we hydro-fracked this well, and I am on my way now to go back, and we're gonna do another flow test to see exactly what the gallon per minute rating of the well is. Now, when you perform, you know, an experiment like this, you have to have a control. So the idea is I'm going to lower the water level down to exactly what it was, 144 feet. I'm going to do a 10-minute test, and then I'm going to do a 20-minute test. We're going to see how much water the well makes in that period of time, and that will give us our gallons per minute. So just in case some people were wondering, this well made 0.6 gallons per minute. So that's roughly a half gallon per minute. Now, it's hard to fathom it, but you can live on a half gallon a minute well, no problem. You just can't be doing anything else extra. Now, the reason why this well needed to be fracked is right there. Because they have a swimming pool now. Now, if the frack procedure doesn't do well, they're gonna have to go ahead and drill another well. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to frack this well, try to make it make 3 to 4 gallons per minute. That way it'd be enough to supply for the swimming pool. Reason why I know this, they had a birthday party here over like 2 weeks ago, and they actually ran the well dry. So during instances like that, when you've got multiple people living in the house more than usual, that's when the well typically runs dry. So just like last time, we're going to use our boom box. This is our acoustic well sounder. We're going to basically run water. So you see, we're wasting water over there. So right now what we're doing is we're lowering the water level of the well down to about 144 foot. And I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to check to see what the water level's at right now. That's pretty good. I've been running the water for about 15 minutes and I'm down to 114 foot. 115 now. The pump that we have in that well is a 1 horsepower, 12 gallon a minute pump. So it should drain it down pretty quickly. So right now we're at 139 feet and I can physically hear water pouring into the well. So that's a good thing. We'll let it run for a little bit longer and then we're going to talk about exactly what I hear and why I hear it. Alright, because we're nearing the 140 foot mark, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this off. Because of the bladder tank in the house, it's still going to have to fill. So that still should carry my water level down until the pump kicks off. As soon as I feel the pump kick off, the water level will stop dropping. Oh, there it went. Okay, so 146 feet, and we're going to mark the time. So right now the water level is at 146 feet and it is 4:15. And I'm going to see if you can hear this. I'm not sure if you can hear it. But water is trickling in the well. So we're gonna do a 10-minute test and a 20-minute test. At 4:25, we're gonna do a reading, and then at 4:35, we're gonna do a reading. But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that we actually hear water cascading in the well, and the water level is only down to 146 feet. So what that means is when we hydrofrack the well, we actually opened up a vein somewhere between the 90-foot mark where we set our packer and the 140-foot mark, because that's where, you know, the water level is. Any water below that we can't hear coming in the well until the water level theoretically would have to drop below that to physically hear it. Now, if I stuck the camera down the well, I could probably see it, but I'm not going to do that because I get all of my readings with my boom box. It would just be one more thing. It's not a large vein, maybe it's 1.5 gallons, something like that. I can hear it trickling in. If it was any less than that, it would probably weep off the sidewall and roll down and you wouldn't hear it. So we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of time. We're going to see what we get, and I'm excited for the results. All right, it's 4:25. Let's go ahead and take a footage reading. At 4:25, we're at 126 foot. Okay, so I'm still waiting to do my second test, but I wanted to go over the results with you from the first one. So if you were able to hear in the audio the water trickling in the well, well, that vein was at 132 feet. And I know that because as soon as the water level came up, the noise quit. So I did a boombox reading at that point, and that was 132 foot. So we know we have water vein opened at 132 feet. Now, my original test, I started at 4:15 at 146 feet. Down here, we waited 10 minutes, and the water level came up 20 feet. It came up to 126 feet. So we did the estimate of that. That's 20 feet of water, which equates to 30 gallons. It made 30 gallons of water in 10 minutes. So that equates to 3 gallons per minute. Now, if you remember back, the well originally made 0.6 gallons per minute prior to the hydrofrac, which is equivalent to 864 gallons in 24 hours. Now, we will know definitively here in the next 7 or 8 minutes when it is 4:35, and I will do my second boombox reading, and we'll get a footage from that. All right, it is now 4:35. It's about 10 seconds prior to 4:35. We're gonna turn it on, and we're gonna check. So we're at 110 foot, and we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait 60 seconds, and we're gonna do it again to get to the other end of that minute. And it's probably gonna come up another 2 foot. So realistically, I'm gonna say I'll probably mark down 109. Yep, so we're on at 109. And we are almost at the 1 minute mark. Okay, so let's talk about these results. At 4:15, the water level was at 146. At 4:21, which was 6 minutes later, the water level was at 133. That was when I noticed that the water vane had started to quiet up, and at 132 you couldn't hear the water trickle in the well anymore. That was the only reason why I checked it at that level. Now, 10 minutes later, at 4:25, the water level was at 126, which was a difference of 20 feet, which equated to about 3 gallons per minute in a 10-minute test. Now, we decided to wait a little bit longer. We waited 20 minutes. The water level was at 109 foot. There's a little bit of a difference there between the first 10 minutes and the second 10 minutes. So maybe if you were to drain the well a little bit further down, you might get a little bit different results, but this is still pretty good roundabout estimate. Now, the well made 55 gallons of water in 20 minutes. That's about, what does that equate to? So that equates to 2.775 gallons per minute. That is 2 3/4 gallon per minute. Now, if we look at the estimate prior to the Hydro-Frac, 0.6 gallons per minute, this well makes 864 gallons per day, per 24 hours. It makes 864 gallons. After the Hydro-Frac, 2.775 gallons per minute, that equates to 3,996 gallons per day, per 24 hours. So we are looking at a increase of somewhere between 5 and 6 times. So I'm going to say that's pretty spectacular results. Very, very happy with that. I was hoping, prior to this, I was hoping we would get somewhere around 3 to 4 gallons per minute, and I think that's exactly what we got. My test at 144 foot is not 100% definitive. A true pump test should be done somewhere around the 250, 260 foot mark. Draw the well really, really low. That way the water level doesn't have the weight of the water pushing back against it. But, you know, the well might make 4 gallons a minute if I decided to spend 3 or 4 hours here and you know, waste all that time. But I can get a pretty good rough estimate. 3 gallons per minute is what I'm going to call it, and I don't think they'll have a problem running this well out of water anymore. If they were to happen to run the well out of water, simply cut it off for 20 minutes and you can go right back to using it like normal. So I think we're done here. So I just did some quick math. We increased the flow rate of that well from its natural gallons per minute by 4.7 times the original flow rate. So that gives you an idea of how much we increased the flow rate. Typically when people ask, we say we can increase the flow rate 4 to 8, maybe if you're lucky 10 times the original flow rate. So in this case, 4.7, I would call it an increase of 5. But thank y'all for watching my channel. If you found the video informative, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're curious about anything and everything well related, please check out my channel. Thank y'all for watching.